Welcome to the Sunset Bushwalk here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. It's a special edition, or a new addition to the product. And I'd like to introduce myself. It's Stefan, and there's Scott on the camera behind us. And what we're basically going to be doing is taking you on a walk with us through Djuma this afternoon. And it's a very special thing to be on a walk. We are far away from a lodge, we are far away from a vehicle, we're in the bush. And how amazing is it that you get to join us for this special occasion? So we're just astounded at this whole production, to be quite honest with you. And the ability for you sitting where you are, standing where you are, to come on this walk with us. Now, walking is a way for you to interact with the bush that's very difficult to do from a vehicle. In a vehicle, it's slightly noisy, you're missing the subtleties around the bush, you're missing the smaller, more finer detailed things. And that's what we hope to bring you with this, is we're hoping to introduce you to our neighborhood. This is where we live, this is where we stay. And there's so many tiny things that we miss while we're going from sighting to sighting, or driving around the reserve trying to show you the amazing things that we show you from the vehicle. We hope to show you as amazing things from being on foot. Now, when we're walking around in the reserve, there are certain things that we need to take into consideration. One is that animals behave quite differently towards us on foot than they do when we're in a vehicle. Their comfort zones for a good description are a lot broader with you on foot. And where a elephant, for instance, or a lion would be comfortable at a meter or two in a car, they're definitely not that comfortable at that distance with you on foot. There's a very good reason. People have been disturbing animals on foot before there were private game reserves. When man was still part of the food chain, people have been disturbing animals on foot for thousands upon thousands of years. The nice thing is for the last 60 years or so, we've been able to interact with these animals on foot without them really being a danger, or being in competition with them for space or for food or anything like that. And it's because of this 60 years of history that we have with these animals in this particular area on foot, we haven't been in competition with them, that we can now do this relatively safely. There are some things that we do though. I do have a rifle with me, as you'd notice. This is a new addition to us walking around. Now, basically what that is just, and it's policy in this area to have, but it's also just a sort of essential piece of safety equipment, very similar to a belt would be, or an airbag in your car. You know, the hope is that you never have to use it, but you know, you're lucky the day that it's there and you do. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get off of this fantastic termite mound that we're sitting on at the moment. Scott and I have just heard impala bark off to my left behind me at the moment. We've got wind in our face, which is I test this by using what we've affectionately come to call our Scott sock. It's one of Scott's socks that are filled with ash from the fire, as you can see. And a gentle shake releases some ash, and you can see that it gives me a very clear indication of where the wind is blowing at the moment. So the wind is blowing around the termite mound. It's actually blowing from this side into my face, which is not going to disturb those impala. We're going to go and have a look at what they're alarm calling for. Some of you would know impala alarm calling is a clear indication that something has disturbed them. We're hoping to show you what it is this afternoon. Now, while we're walking, you're welcome to send us some questions. Scott and I are attached to Final Control and Nikki and Tara through a radio. And you can use an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag on Twitter, Safari Live. And we will be forwarded the questions, and hopefully we can answer some of them as we walk along and see what's in front of us. So without further ado, please come with. You'll notice that we're walking through quite a area, quite thickly wooded. This is a seep line. It's a terminalia thicket, and coming out of the terminalia thicket onto the crest of the hill, and it should be a bit more grassy and a bit more open, and it's there that I'm expecting these impala to be. What's quite interesting is we've got a storm rolling around us, and should you hear any rumbles in the distance, it's thunder that we're hearing, so definitely not giving us too much of a warning right now, but something to keep our eye open. You'll see in the distance a big termite mound. Now we're going to be aiming to go to that termite mound. I just want to go and stand on it, and it gives me a bit of elevation. It also allows me a greater line of sight so that we can see and hear a little bit better. So from where I'm standing at the moment, I actually can't hear the impala alarm calling anymore. It's not uncommon. They alarm call very briefly, they all run away, they stop what they're doing, and they look around and they've run away from the danger and they stop alarm calling. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't still keep on looking for what's disturbed them. So let's go away. So while I'm busy listening with the one ear, this is quite interesting. This is a piece of round leaf bloodwood that an elephant has had in his mouth, and basically what he's done is he's chewed the bark off. The only piece of this entire branch that the elephant was interested in was the bark, and you can see what he's done. He's put it in his mouth on one side and he's rolled it between his molars, and it came out the other side of his mouth. Basically what I'm doing with my hands now is rolling it. He's chewed off the bark and then he spat out the rest. Leaves, roots on the other end and all. And they spend hours busy eating these round leaf bloodwoods, and they actually coppice. They should grow into a small tree and a shrub, but they don't. They never get higher than a little bush in this area. Elephants just chop them, keep on chopping them, don't kill the plant. They become farmers of this particular plant. So I don't hear anything. The impala definitely have stopped alarm calling, but we're going to carry on making our way towards where we heard them calling. See what we can do. Come along. You're welcome. So Trent in Fiji has asked me, what's the most dangerous animal we can encounter on foot? Well, firstly, I'd like to say welcome, Trent, and welcome to the first question that we're having on our walk today. There are 5 animals that are the most dangerous to encounter on foot. The big 5, which are from a African perspective, what people want to see, they got their reputation for being the 5 most dangerous animals to hunt on foot, and therefore the most spectacular to see. From a photographic point of view, that is. So of those animals, we can expect any of them to be potentially life-threatening, but very similar to how you live your daily life, where you try and avoid and minimize threats to your person, we try and do the same here. we're keeping our eyes and ears open. We're moving and stopping and listening and moving and stopping and listening. We're trying to avoid very thick bush areas. We're keeping the wind into our faces. And therefore, we're minimizing the chance that we spook one of these animals. That's what you don't want to do. So, while I'm not worried about what we're going to expect here, I expect that we're going to find or maybe not find something that scared the impala. It could be lions, it could be leopard, it could be anything really. We could walk into a herd of buffalo in front of us, an elephant herd. It doesn't really matter what we do. We're going to read the situation as it comes and not try and panic. That's the key. We are as much part of this bush as what they are. Especially ourselves, myself and Scott have both been working in this environment for a long, long time. Myself, 16 years plus, and Scott approaching 10 years at the moment. So definitely got some experience. You're in safe hands. Go right ahead. So Jenny, hello Jenny from Virginia. I've just been asked by you, do we use established paths when we're walking through the bush, or do we just pick a direction to walk in? We definitely don't use established paths. I would say it's a mixture. At the moment we're not walking on an established path at all. Scott and I were waiting to do the introduction, introduce you to our walk, and next thing behind us, impala started alarm calling, and we literally just walking in that direction, walking through the bush. I will try and walk on paths sometimes. It's a lot quieter to walk on a path. There's a lot less twigs and leaves, but it's not necessarily what we try and aim for. If it's there, I'll walk on it. If it's not there, it's not too much of a problem. Hopefully that answered your question. But we're getting close to where we heard those impala barking at the moment. We're no more than, say, 400 yards, 200 meters away, and we're going to carry on in that direction. Haven't heard anything from them again, but so now we've reached the crest of this little hill that we've been walking up, and it's from here that we can start to expect to see these impala. Now, some of you might be noticing that I have a white armband on my arm. This is just a visual cue that I am a registered trails guide walking in this area. There are surveillance teams and anti-poaching squads that are deployed throughout the Kruger National Park in an effort to combat poaching, and this is just one of the cues that I have at the moment to distinguish myself from someone who's unregistered. So just it's not to make my muscle look big. And I must say, I have to say, and a big thank you to Donna on Twitter for asking that question. It slipped my mind initially, so thank you, Donna. So I've got a funny feeling that those impala were calling in this direction here. I'm hearing slight noises coming from here, and it's in that direction that I want to go in. So let's go. The bush is a bit thick at sort of grass level, but not too much of a worry. It's not thick enough to make us worry too much that there's going to be anything hiding in close quarters. The bush we're walking through at the moment is typically impala habitat. We're just going to take a minute or two just to listen once more. I can hear a tree squirrel. Might look a bit funny with me cupping my ear, but I'm turning my ear effectively into a bigger ear. Not that I need it, but it allows me to hear a little bit better. And I can hear a tree squirrel calling. Let's go and find it. Copy that. So we've got a tree squirrel busy calling not too far away from us now. It's a chittering noise. We're going to be making our way straight to that. That's a clear indication that something's disturbed that tree squirrel. They shout for almost anything, but with the impala barking and now the tree squirrel's busy calling, let's go there and let's go and see what we can find. So we've got a troop of mongoose that's just run out of the grass in front of me. I don't think it's that's scaring the tree squirrel. Let's carry on going. So the tree squirrel has stopped calling, but let's get a bit closer. We're right here. now know what scared the tree squirrels. As you can see from the top of the tree, we have an African harrier hawk. So I would say that would be enough to scare the squirrels into making the alarm call. Why we were rushing here was the combination of impala and the combination of the tree squirrels calling was enough to make me certain that there was some other type of predator here. Now, the African harrier hawk would not have made the impala give the alarm call. Definitely the squirrel, or we think it's definitely the squirrel. But we're going to carry on here, look around this area. Fairly certain whatever disturbed those impala is definitely around here still. It looks like we're on the edge of a beautiful open area. Now, Lynn in Toronto, hello Lynn, good afternoon, wanted to know if we keep within a certain distance from the camp or if we have particular paths that we walk on. So thank you for your question, Lynn. The answer to that is we're not restricted very much at all, to be honest with you. We can pretty much walk where we want to on Djuma, and this is one of the special things of bringing you the walking safaris live like we are at the moment, is that Scott and I pretty much have unrestricted access to this whole reserve, all the blocks in between the roads, all the drainage lines, and it's what's making it so exciting bringing this to you, so we can access areas that would be very difficult to reach in the car. So what we're going to do is we're going to just scout through this open area, keeping our eyes and our ears open. Once again, just those telltale signs like we've had. And we'll definitely keep you updated as we go along. So as this area is busy opening up and giving us some distance to see through, giving Scott and I some chance to have a look through here, but also considering the time frame that's gone by since we heard the impala giving the alarm call and when we arrived at this open area, we're going to be crossing back to Mark, but we'll definitely keep you updated as we go along with what's going on around us.
Well, welcome back to our wheeled drive, and welcome back to this part of Djuma Game Reserve, and a very, very special spot because we're on the western slope of one of our easternmost hillsides, and we're able to look out over this fantastic sky that is brewing